Hi, my name is David and I work with Ecotroph to build new tools that streamline your workflow. We've introduced a new way for our users to connect their inspection app to Ecotroph, and we call it Inspection Sync. This tool enables your inspection app to send test results to a specific energy model and save you up to 20 minutes of data entry time per energy model. Using Inspection Sync is easier than you may think. In this video, I'll show you how to do this in less than 10 minutes. All you need to do is set up your inspection app to record minimum rated features, the same way they are recorded in Ecotroph, and then use Inspection Sync to connect the two softwares. First, I'm going to show you our tools. The first tool is Ecotroph. We pre-build our energy models from plans before we go and do an inspection. Often, we copy an existing template energy model, put in address or lot specific information, and then use this new tool for our confirmed energy model. Then I have a project scheduler tool based in Google Sheets. I built this in Google Sheets to keep track of all of my template energy models and all of my scheduled inspections. Each time a new inspection is scheduled, I add a new row to this spreadsheet with all of the necessary information needed to keep track of my schedule. Next, my inspection app is Fast Field Forms. This is one of the many inspection apps on the market today. I built this with one form for a final HERS inspection, and I've built nested forms for all of the repeating items in my energy model, such as walls, windows, and mechanical and distribution systems. It's important that I record information in my app in the same format and structure that Ecotroph records the same data. I can also include photos and other information that may not end up in the energy model, but is otherwise required for my inspection. Finally, I use this cool web app called Zapier. It helps me tie everything together. It listens for activity in Ecotroph, my project manager sheet, and my inspection form, and performs zaps or actions whenever it is prompted to. Zapier makes it really easy to map data from Ecotroph to my inspection form and back again without any code. You don't need to use these specific tools well other than Ecotroph, but these all work well together. I'm going to follow this basic workflow. First, build an energy model in Ecotroph. Second, when an inspection is scheduled or a new row is added to my Google Sheet or Excel or other project management tool, I'll dispatch my inspection form pre-filled with data from Ecotroph using Zapier. Third, a field rater will complete and submit the inspection in my app. And fourth, the app will send that data to an Inspection Sync data file using Zapier. And fifth, I'll upload those data files to Ecotroph to update the energy models. This is how it's done. We're going to use Zapier here to connect Ecotroph and our project scheduling tool to our Fast Field Form inspection app. Zapier helps connect multiple types of software together, web-based software, and those are just two examples of tools that we can use. So the first thing we need to do is build the dispatch system that when an inspection is scheduled in our project scheduler, it pulls data out of Ecotroph and dispatches an inspection form that's pre-filled with information to our field rater. I'm going to do that by creating a zap in Zapier. Zapier walks you through this process of connecting an app event from a certain web-based software that triggers the whole process going. In our case, it's going to be based on our Google Sheet project scheduling tool. But as you can see, there's over 4,900 different web apps that it could be used with. Gmail, Google Drive, Google Contacts, and even Google Calendar you could use. I just focused on Google's services, but there's plenty of others that work here as well. I'm going to go ahead and do Google Sheets. And it's going to say what event starts this process. I'm going to say when a new spreadsheet row is added to my scheduling tool. So I'm going to do that, and it's just going to walk me through this whole process. It's going to say what Google account, what account should I use? I'm going to say it's my Google Sheet account that I'm logged in on. It's going to go and find that account. I've already signed in, so it doesn't ask me to sign in. Now it's going to ask what spreadsheet should it listen to. And my spreadsheet is called the Project Schedule Manager. Next, it asks what tab should it listen for this event to occur on. And in my case, it's the Jobs and Inspections tab. This is where I add all the information for a newly scheduled job or inspection. I'm going to go ahead and continue. And it's going to ask to test this trigger. It's going to go and ask this Google Sheet, hey, what's the most recent row? And give you this information. If this looks right, it does, we can continue. Next, it asks, what should the action be? And in this case, the action should be get information from Ecotroph. And to do that, we're going to search for Ecotroph in here. And we see Ecotroph by invite only. If you want access to this, let us know. We can invite you to this as well. And again, it asks for the event. And it's for us, there's only one here. It's get house plan data. Next, it asks for which account. We're going to use this account here. Now, it just prompts us through this information. It says it needs a house plan ID. And we need to tell it where to find this house plan ID. We already store that in this scheduling tool. So I'm just going to find that column, that data point that has the plan ID, and say, whenever you use this, use that column. We'll go continue. And it wants to test this connection. So I will test and review. This is just talking to Ecotroph, asking whether or not this works, and it will load an example. And right here, it loads an example that looks like it has correct data. It has, lighting, the interior percent efficient is 10% in this particular house plan. It says retest and review, publish that, but we're not finished. We want to take this data from Ecotroph and send it to our project inspection tool. So now we're going to search for our project inspection tool and say fast field mobile forms. That's just the inspection tool I'm using for this. And again, it walks us through the same process. What's an event that should happen when all of this starts? And we want to create form dispatch. This means put data into a form and send it to a particular user of our app so they can finish the inspection. Again, it asks for an account. I'm going to use the account I'm already signed in with. Now it asks what form do we want to dispatch or send to our field inspector. I'm going to pick the final HERS inspection form. I've already pre-built this form with typical final HERS inspection data points. Now I just pulled in a lot of information here. This pulled in all of the different questions or data collection points in that form, and it's asking how do you want to fill these in. So there's a few things that are required here. First is the recipient email, and this is who this form will be sent to, and it should be sent to our field inspector. I keep track of the field inspector's email address in my scheduling tool, so I'm going to go ahead and select that. So as long as there's a field in one of our tools that it's connected to that has the email address, we're all set. And you can enter a little text to tell this field rater what to do. I want to skip that. The next thing that's required is the dispatch name. For this, I'm going to call it the project address, and then also add the job type, HERS final. So when they get this dispatch, they see the address and know what they're supposed to do, a HERS final inspection. Then there's all of this information, project name, the address, city. If we keep going down, we see street address, Ecotroph ID, rating date, rater of record, number of bedrooms, all of these questions that are part of our inspection process, building orientation, number of interior fluorescent lights, blower door results, and we can fill in as much of this as we would like. I'm going to go ahead and just show how the Ecotroph ID is completed. So if I go to Ecotroph here, there's all of these different fields that come out of Ecotroph. And there's a lot because this is the entire house plan. So I'm going to just search for ID. So I'm going to do project ID. And I'm actually just going to grab this from the spreadsheet. You can fill in as much of this as you want. I'm going to go ahead and press continue. And it's going to show me an example. I'm going to skip this test because it's all set. All we have to do is publish this Zap. And now whenever a new row is added to our project scheduler app and there's information in it, it will send our field inspector a pre-filled inspection form in the inspection app, Fast Field Forms. Next, we need to build the connection that sends data from the inspection app back to Ecotroph. And to do that, we're going to use Zapier again. It's a very similar process of what we just did, except we're going to connect a couple different tools. We're going to go ahead and create a Zap. And again, we need to pick the trigger to kick this all off. And we're going to go to Fast Field Forms again. We need to pick an event, and for this one, we're going to say New Form Submission. So anytime a new form is completed and submitted, this whole process is going to get started. Again, it asks for an account. I want to select the account that I have and have already logged in with. Next, it's going to ask which form should it listen to, and anytime a final HERS inspection is submitted, I want to send it to Ecotroph in the inspection sync. So we'll select that. We're going to go ahead and continue. We'll test the trigger. It all looks good. Now we need the action. After the form is submitted and Zapier hears that, what's the next step? In this case, we want to take that data from the fast field form and write it to an inspection sync JSON file. What we're going to do is we're going to use the Dropbox action here, and this allows us to write that JSON file to my Dropbox account. So what we're going to go here and say create text file. Again, we're going to select my account. We're going to continue. Now, what should the name be? In this case, I'm going to name it. I'm going to grab, we have all the data available here from the form. I'm going to take the street address and name it the street address. Now, what do we want in this text file? Now, in this text entry box, we need to write in the data that we want in this file. It's important to put it in the correct format so that Inspection Sync can listen for that. The correct format is a JSON format, and it's pretty easy to get. We have a copy of a version of it on our website that you can download and put in here. I also have a version of it ready to go on the side over here. I want to paste in the example Inspection Sync JSON file, and it's going to look kind of big, but you'll notice there's a very specific format here. You'll have a key in quotation marks on the left-hand side of a colon, and on the right-hand side, you'll have information. Now, in this place where we have the information, we need to put in different data from the fast field forms. So down here, we'll have all the different data fields that we can add in, and I'm going to press Eco ID for project ID. So now, whenever this file is created, it'll add this text plus whatever information is in the form in the Eco ID field. And all you need to do is go through and add that to each of these little data points here. Leakage to outside, leakage to outside, and go through and add that for all of the different data points that you want to update in your inspection sync process. Now I can continue. And I'm going to skip the test here because it should be good to go, and I'll publish the Zap. That's all it takes to integrate Ecotroph with your inspection app using Zapier. If you want to learn more, contact us at info@ecotroph.com, and we can help you out implementing inspection sync with Zapier and your preferred inspection app.